that I did that same thing, and the latter happened. It was actually we broke everything, and I was up to like 4 in the morning. It was terrible. And so I was like, oh, please don't do that again. But everything passed. I was like, oh, thank God. I'm going to bed. Let's get set up. Any questions, guys? Just while I get set up. We already got 9, so I opened up here. I know there's a lot to go through in the morning. I didn't really push for any trades because we had the news at 8:30. So, but hopefully some of you guys found a little bit out of the deeper explanation for that. Good deal. Okay. We are live on it. Got that. I don't think so. I knew they were coming. I didn't look at the date. I don't think they're out there yet. I'd have to look at it. I haven't had much time to dive into that. Good morning, guys. Yeah, so we'll see where this goes, guys. We have a little kind of push and possible parallel too going on here. Interesting. Yeah, I think today the best course of action is going to be, we did our kind of high time frame look, and we'll pivot to that as we need to, more so in the afternoon part. But I think that there's just as much chance that we can go further down as there is that we can push north. So when that happens, the best course of action is to lean on Neo, and stick to scalping, right? Sometimes it's better to scalp, sometimes it's better to take your bigger trades. Morning, Ted. The longer trades. And so I'm gonna probably keep sticking to scalping and defensive. What I'm looking at here, which is intriguing, on the 5, you kind of have a little beginning of trying to round. So I'll be curious where we open on this, because if we sweep through, we push it pretty low, probably around 8. But yeah, where we are, I mean, we definitely have room to pull, but we're also showing some signs, if this holds through open, of a push. But what I want to see is I'd want to see at least this reclaim this upper, like 278, something like that, ideally. And then that will give us pretty good northern juice. But if not, we're just waiting for another leg down. So from here. So we'll have to see how open goes. But these are the days that are really, really good to lean on AI, right? To lean on Neo, because he is going to be able to see stuff that we don't see. So let me get my stuff ready. I am not going to probably trade the funded ones right away on open. So I'm going to flip to my eval. I'll make sure that I'm on it. Yep, got it. Okay. All right. 169, yeah, he's probably not wrong. That's what we were kind of looking at. I think it was 163 that I had. So it's funny that his is pretty close when we were looking at it. Pretty cool. Good morning. We are getting set up. We have TikTok live, got the community live, doing our pre-market look here. Can you give us some lines and areas of things we should look out for? Blow him up a little for you.
Good morning to the live community. Price is rotating inside a 1-minute bullish order block at 29,144.25 to 29,153.25, with current price at 29,153.25. The structure is compressed. I would not force an entry in the middle. The cleanest setups for the open. For the short, I would wait for a 1-minute bearish candle body close and hold below 29,144.25. If that confirms, the first meaningful downside target is the major reaction level near 29,095.50. Failure back above 29,153.25 is the first warning. For the long, I would want to see buyers defend the 29,144.25 to 29,153.25 zone and reclaim 29,164.00 with a 1-minute bullish candle body close and hold. The first meaningful upside target is the institutional reaction level near 29,258.74. The primary concern is the institutional selling bias while price is in compression. I would keep the invalidation levels tight until volume confirms a clear breakout or breakdown direction.
He spit out a lot on that one. I'm going to decipher here through the levels. So we got 144, 153, and 095. And then we got that's all real tight. It's kind of interesting. He didn't give me anything really a range around anything. He didn't give me anything lower, which you guys all know interests me a lot. He gave me the 58.75. It's an institutional zone.
I had to actually force him to give me lines earlier to the downside.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that sometimes tells you something. I know. So and then I'm gonna tell him that he's gonna say, if you must want, let's see if he tells me it doesn't matter. Got it. I have all those lines. Is there anything below 29,095 that I can mark, or that I should not worry about? Let's see what he says.
Good look.
No,
You aren't exactly swimming in support down there. The only major area worth marking is the prior day low at 29,016.75. That's a major structural pivot. If 29,095.50 gives up, that's the next floor where price might actually wake up. Beyond that, the data is thin, so don't go inventing fairy tale levels just to fill your chart. If structure below that is that empty, just let price action show you where the next floor builds itself.
He said don't invent fairy tale levels just to fill your chart up. So what you're saying is I should not go crazy with the crayons, drawing lines everywhere. Let's taunt him a little bit. Alright, so he still didn't give me much on that, so we have the low is really all we have.
Exactly. Unless you're planning to sell the crayons for a profit, drawing a spiderweb on your chart won't help you catch a move. I'd quit the art project and watch how price treats the 29,144.25 support zone we're currently hovering in. I'd look for a short only if we get a 1-minute candle close and hold below 29,144.25, targeting the 29,095.50 major reaction level. If price reclaims 29,166.50 instead, the short thesis is dead in the water. Keep it simple. The market doesn't care how many lines you drew.
Fair point. So I brought on the flow trading because I like this one. It gives me that range, right? So we are internal from our high-low, the Heikinashi. The 095 that he gave us looks like Asia low is what he's calling. And then the 16, yeah, is the prior low he's calling from here. And then above that, the 58, what did he... Oh, institutional. Okay, I'm like, I don't see that one. Makes sense. And he called that a reaction level, so there could be an attempt to that, but if we do... So remember, guys, when he calls reaction levels, if it hits here, it doesn't mean it's going to reject. If it hits, breaks off, it's likely going to pull hard. If it hits through, holds, it's going to push hard. It's a reaction level, right? It's where the price is going to likely cause a big reaction, is what it is. So, let's look and see. Yeah, so maybe I'll leave some of these on. I'm gonna just take off a few of the higher time Lisbons. I don't mind the 1 and the 5, but we'll take that one off. Yeah, good deal. Yeah, so we'll see where we go. We got a little pre-market bleed kind of pulling through. For those just joining in, I'm kind of letting TikTok build through, but we have kind of an interesting potential ahead, right? So, one, want to caution you that we have NVIDIA earnings. So, the biggest mistake a lot of traders make is that they teach every day, or they treat every day as it is a normal day. That is further from the truth. So, because each day you need to build your plan around the day. And with the news, we don't know if it's going to be bullish or bearish. Most of the time, NVIDIA news comes out bullish, but they squeeze it bearish first. Could open up, to a pull early and then a reversal. We'll have to see how it treats open on that, how some of the levels shift. But what I will tell you, and it kind of played out yesterday pretty well, is that the market loves to manipulate when we have that kind of news, right, going on. And so you can see yesterday, that's what we did. So we had a pretty good push where Asia, EU, all that kind of bought. US took profit. It's normal. We talked about that yesterday in the morning open. That's kind of a session theory thing where if you come back, Asia bought, EU bought, the other, 4 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock bought, 6 o'clock sold, but did not break a low. Killzone bought, pre-market sold, market open swept, and then sold. Usually when Asia and EU combine buy like that, US takes profit. It's just normal session theory. And so when we went through the day yesterday, we had that crazy sweep, and then we kind of held like I was thinking, but we ended up chopping, right, ranging basically. And then we had Asia opened up and dumped. And then we had midnight hit, EU still in a sense sold, Killzone dropped, and pre-market dropped, and so most of the prior sessions all sold. So the session theory would be that US would try to come in and buy some of that up, but it's not really much different from where we were, right? So I don't know that that would hold as much weight as normal that I would give it. But if you're looking at my chart, this is what lines Neo gave us. Just been kind of waiting for a little more to fill in here on TikTok as I went on. It does seem to help. So any people that are here in the Google Meet that are willing or able to join on the TikTok just to kind of help me get out of this algo fun, it's appreciative. So if you're new to watching, this is Neo. He is our AI. You can't see his little head there because I have it zoomed in for you people on TikTok. You can see. There he is. And so in this, he is representing TradeVision, which is your trading guide, mentor, coach, whatever you really need, honestly. He's true AI. We've had him give us our TA in boxing announcer voice and theme. We had some fun with it where we'd pick names in the crowd and identify them as the bulls and the bears in the boxing arena, and it was kind of fun because it'd be like us watching Jody and John in there, and he would mention things like John's the bull and Jody's the bear, and it was kind of funny because people would not know if we were getting boxing updates or trading updates, right? That's the beauty of AI. So we have people that have various things they do for professions, and maybe you don't understand certain things as quickly, but you can tell him, hey, you know, I'm in whatever industry. Let's say you're in the medical industry. You could say, I'm in the medical industry. Can you break all TA down as if, you know, you're in a hospital call and stuff, right? Uh, and he'll do that. And you just have to ask him, right? He's AI. So he is web-based commercial. You can see nextstepalgo.com up here. That's our website. The company was created by myself and two friends, and Neo is across our entire website. So we are going to continue to expand. We have support Neo coming out pretty soon. We have autopilot where Neo is going to be trading for people. We have watch lists, which I'll go into another time, which will also be Neo. Neo is across the site. In all of our training, Neo is there to help. So when you go into any kind of course that we have, right, when you get into the course and you take it, our courses are not the same as others. You can open the book. It's not a video. When I open it, it is audio, but I'm going to mute it for now. And you can actually ask Neo questions right here. You just talk to him, and he will explain whatever you need to understand within that course. So he's everywhere. So when you join in and you say, where do I find Neo? That is a pretty broad question. So TradeVision is where we will be this morning doing the TA. If you guys want your own Neo to talk to, we do a 3-day free trial that you don't need to put a card. You don't have to do anything. You just register on the site, go there, click the free trial, and you can start using them. The beauty of Neo being web-based is that you have no settings, no connection, nothing. You literally go to the website, you can do it on your phone, click TradeVision, and you hit start, and that's it. Morning, Rose. And so you
Hey,
don't
Nick,
have to connect
I'm
nothing.
locked, loaded, and trying to act like a professional this time. Let's see if the market actually cooperates today. What are we hunting?
And there's no settings. Only thing I have to do is click here and choose the symbol that I want. If you don't know what symbol to choose, you can scroll down and we have them all down here. So he supports futures, options, stocks, and crypto on those. And then from there, right, we have enhanced languages you can do. We got response timing, which is quick is plenty for trading, so that's what I usually do. The other ones are better for educational. And then you have the personalities that you can choose. So you can fit them to whatever personality you want. I like funny because I think every now and then to get a little joke in return is always fun. So from there you just talk to them. So microphone, send it, and you're good. We will be live trading, so I will do my best to keep up with questions on it. But if we get done quick enough, right, we'll do a little pause for the calls, and I'll allow questions for Neo or myself as well. So let's go into that. So I'm gonna put on obviously my trap and block, and I'm gonna put on the flow trading just because I do want to kind of see what it does with the two lesmas that I like. From there, right, we'll just we'll end on Neo. I just refreshed the page, so I came back to you here. So we are back. We have about 10 minutes before open. I have all the levels you gave me prior. Any other things we should be watching maybe that I'm missing? Again, he's AI, so I can ask him whatever I want to ask him.
Welcome back. You've got 10 minutes until the bell, so put the crayons down and let the market show its hand before you start guessing. The immediate cap is 29,166.50. If we can't reclaim that, the bears are just waiting for an excuse to push lower. If we crack the 29,133.00 floor, don't be the hero trying to catch a falling knife. Just watch which side of those lines the opening liquidity flows to. Don't trade the maybe before the bell actually rings.
Okay. So 166 is what he is adjusting, so let's adjust those lines. Always remember too, when you're talking to Neo guys and trading, he is just interpreting data as it comes in. His data is live, it is real time. And so you don't want to, in the beginning, say, give me all my key levels or lines, put them all, and never talk to them again because they change, right? Conditions change throughout the market. So you want to be aware of that. But we got We got 10 minutes. Look at this crazy guy. The order filled, you heard. It's not me trading. So Neo Autopilot is
Order
in
filled.
full. Alex has it looping too, where it's doing 2 order fills. It's not 2 entries on the audio, but I don't mind leaving the audio there because it lets me know to look up and see what he's doing. He's taking a trade 10 minutes for open, which is nutty, but at the same time, I have him on very aggressive because I want to see as we make updates to him trading, I need to be able to see what he's doing and what he's thinking. I'm less worried about is he winning as much, kind of, but not as much because I mostly want to see when he took the trade, what was he thinking, right? That's the most important part when creating a automation within the AI is it thinking? Once I know it's thinking and the thinking is along the right where it should be, then I can make adjustments, right? But and it's hard for me to test him if he's not aggressive. I don't want to sit here for the whole day waiting for him to take a trade to decide what he thought on the one trade, right? So you're gonna hear the order field quiet a bit, and I probably won't mention which way he's going today because we identified a couple of areas that we had to correct basically. And then there was a few areas that I was amending that apparently was not the right areas. And so Alex was walking me through that last night. So it was a pretty late night last night. But the good news is, guys, he is executing trades. He's thinking through the trades pretty well. It's just gonna take time, So when you upgrade to VIP, what I do is the best way that you can do that would be to make a support ticket first. Because what I like to do is, I believe in what is fair, right? So if you are subscribed to basic and let's say you just paid it like a week ago, right? I'm not going to make you do the VIP on top of that and then because you get basic anyways, right? So a lot of times I will if you let me know you're about to sign up to it, I'll look at it and then put a credit in there. So when you go to sign up, it'll reduce whatever that difference is. So yeah, I'm always going to be fair with that stuff. So, yep. So just let me know. And then, yeah, but very exciting, guys. I mean, he's doing a lot of really cool things. It's not something that I will rush because I know it's different with TradeVision because he's guiding you. With autopilot, I know he's going to be that shiny toy, right? Like you are going to do your TA, you're going to hear order filled and go, "Whew, he's short. I'm in. Let's go." You know. Um and so I will not let him until he's where I want him and he's executing and doing things as he should. I don't really want to make it to where you guys can follow him. But good news is a lot of progress last night. It was massive, massive progress. So I was really excited for that. Yep, Radius is ready to roll. Today's for those just now joining in, because we have a couple minutes. Not going to go detailed on it again because I just finished it, but this is Neo. He's our AI that we created on our company. It's nextstepalgo.com if you want to check it out. Anybody can try him out in a free trial. You just have to go to the website and you can sign up. No settings, no data required, nothing like that. And my dog. The yeah, and so that's who you're going to hear us talk about. So if you're intrigued by AI, if you're either a trader now or you are one who is thinking about getting in trading, stick around for a little bit. I think you'll like what you see. The other thing is, guys, I gave a little pre-day warning that today is not going to be likely a normal day. So we don't know how well it's going to follow technicals until we see it do it, right? We have a little channel here that is holding on support, but we have NVIDIA earnings. So NVIDIA earnings, and I know people like Radius and some other experienced traders will tell you, the real experienced people love those days because the volatility is there and you can make crazy amount of money. But I will tell you, it's also days that even the best of us take big losses, right? Because you don't know. Hey, and you know, so it's a hit or miss, right? But I will tell you one thing on it. If you are newer, it's a day to be really careful. If you are one who has back tested your indicators and strategies 800 times and you have the perfect strategy, today's a day that could potentially disrespect the absolute shit out of your strategies. So it's just normal because it's manipulative, right? Where when you get into these big news events, there's a lot of earnings that definitely manipulate the market, but NVIDIA is one of the top ones, right, from those. And so if you find out that your technicals are not being respected, that's why. Even myself, I might say throughout the session, if we get a close above something or below something, we're going to go that direction, or we're holding a 50, this supports absorption, should go this way. I may say all these things, but if it gets disrespected, it's where people that do TA I think mess up a bit, and I am watching the clock, guys. Is we think that if we're doing our TA and it's right, we figured out the keys to the puzzle. And then if it's wrong, we suck and we need to redo our entire strategy because we're terrible. But it's really further from the truth more times than not, you would think, because when depending on the market, the news, the day, the session, there's manipulation. And so sometimes identifying what it should do actually could be good, because if it doesn't do what it should do, we're in a manipulative session and you probably just don't want to trade that, right? And that's why the question that I get asked quite a bit is how many, you know, as somebody who scalps plus sometimes longer style trades, you know, people say, well, how many trades do you do a day? Well, my answer is usually it could be anywhere from none to one to, I think the most I did, you guys remember on that one was like something crazy, like 300 trades or something. So if the technicals are being respected, I'm good. If they're not, then I'm not. We have a nice drop with a pretty decent inverse head and shoulders I'm pretty intrigued about. We have 1 minute and then I'll ask Neo here. These are the levels he gave, guys, and I will tell you, he didn't want to give me anything below here. I had to force him to give me this one, and then below that, he really said he doesn't have anything. And then he gave me this one up here as institutional, so we'll see where he goes with that. But we have the 28, so we ask Neo, and I love it on Sarcastic, a question each morning, and where he would send price. So let's just let's ask him and see. We're getting a lot of volatility early. All right, we have our lines set. We have our plan made. We are about a minute out. Can you tell me where would you send price on the US Open to wreck the most retail traders chasing liquidity? I'll mix it up a little, see what he says. All right, now everybody's getting their trigger fingers ready.
The classic retail oops moment is a script as old as time. A quick spike above the recent high around 29170, 29175
Ooh,
to
that's
make
not
the
even
breakout
high.
chasers feel like geniuses the second the bell
Interesting.
rings. Once the FOMO is fully baked in, the market yanks the rug, flushes the 29,133.00 lows, and leaves the long bias crowd staring at their stop losses in confusion. Don't be the guy buying the first candle. If you see that spike hold for a second and then fail to hold above 29,160, that's your signal that the breakout chasers have been trapped and the downside move is actually on.
Okay, so key part of the ending there, and I know we're coming up close. He was expecting a quick spike and then a pull, right? So we'll see on that. He's saying if the spike goes and fails to fall below 166, right, then we'll see the upside. But if we push and then we fall back below, he's expecting that they're trapped and it will see further downside. So here we go. About ready for the bell. So there's our push. Let's see if we get any kind of pull. We got the push, no pull. We know we are inverse head and shoulder. So let's look at our fib and retracement here. Let's see. So we got a 0.5. From that, we are breaking. So we are pushing and no pull. So keep in mind, most of you who know, you've been following them for a bit, is if you push and hold, up we go. If we push, you don't take the short on the sweep to the 133 unless we break back below that 166. So we're getting the push likely because of a few things. We had a nice channel here with a hold. That's what I was talking about earlier there for a second. And inverse head and shoulder. So we'll see how well it wants to go. Typically, I would expect some kind of little pull, but we'll see. Because now that we've completed, so we're going to give him a minute. We're a little bit after. Let's ask him. All right, so we did get the push above the 166 and have not fell below. So can you give me an update on all of the institutional gamma wall levels, please? So let's update our lines. We're getting a lot of good strength, guys. This line right here is a midpoint.
Don't pop the
It's holding.
champagne just because price crawled above 29,166. That just puts you closer to the ceiling. With price at 29,161.75, those
US Open.
institutional reaction zones at 29,210.72 and 29,200.72 are sitting right above you as overhead resistance,
Go to
not support.
210.
Institutional flow is still screaming, sell, while the chart tries to act tough, so expect plenty of drama if we actually touch those walls.
Okay.
I'd save the celebration until we see if price can actually hold above that mess without getting
275.
slapped back down.
Okay, and so when you ask him questions, guys, remember he's grabbing data the moment I'm talking to him, right, and analyzing. And so if you ask him a question on the price, it's going to be off on open when it shoots $100 in a second. But the levels are the most important. So his 210 and 200 is what he had mentioned. If we lose that, we'll come back down to 161.75 like this. So let's ask him. Got it. I already kind of have that plan. I'm more interested in what the gamma walls are. If you can just list out those, all I need is the levels. I don't need the extra stuff. Let's see if he'll just give me the levels. So
With MNQ at 29,275.00, here are the gamma levels you wanted without the fluff. Overhead resistance, reaction zones are at 29,300.72 and 29,320.57. Below price support, retest zones are 29,270.72, 29,220.72, and 29,130.72.
Okay.
Try not to let the numbers hypnotize you.
What do you say, 270? Okay, so I'm going to get them on here, guys. You can follow my numbers here if you can see them. I'll call them out as well, but you got the 270.25, which is right where we're rejecting off of right now. We got 320, 300, 210 and 130. Okay, so let's pivot this one. So once we get the opening move, we always want to take a minute, let the candle settle, and just adjust your lines, right? Because the market will still be there when you're done, I promise you. So he's got 220.57. The most important thing with Neo is going to be these levels, right? And identifying those. All right, and
Order
then
close.
on that. And so when you can see we're hitting this with resistance, which was our zone that he gave. It's also Asia high as well. We can take a little fib and pull it up. So we came back to the 382, reclaim the 236. If we hold this as support, get a close above, we'll get expansion. If we lose that 382, then it's going to get a pull. And so let's watch and see how this goes. So I'm giving it a minute or two here to settle. For those who trade Neo normally, again, we know how to treat that, where if he gives you the highs and the lows, and he's going to give you scenarios. There's a press above the 160. If it fails to break, it's going to continue up. If it breaks it, then he expected a flush to 30. So you wouldn't have taken the short, hopefully, until it broke that, which it didn't. And then so how you interpret it is once you get the close and the push through that, you would have took the long. I didn't take it. because as I'm setting up, I just wanted to kind of let it play. But we got a nice double top with the 270 hold that he called. We can identify roughly where this bounces. So 0.5 is sitting pretty much right there, actually, the 218. 206. So if we lose this 206 or so, I'd expect a deeper pull. Otherwise, it may try to jump. But keep in mind, yesterday we did. There's a lot of variables that we talked about in pre-market. Yesterday we did a similar kind of push and then pull. I love that we have a little double top here because I want to see how this reacts. If this is respected and we come down, then it's kind of like yesterday, right? We had a push, respecting bearish patterns and structure, and we're going down. But if we fail, or this flips into something bullish, right, then we'll know that it's invalidating bearish stuff, right? And that helps you with your bias for the day as well. But based on all the data and the levels, everything that we have in here, what would your bias mostly be? And outline any trap concerns, conflicts, any things that you think we should be
Order
aware of.
closed.
Let's see what he
The
says.
market view is currently stuck in the middle, kind of like trying to find a decent parking spot on a Monday morning. The 5 minutes trend is bearish and price is chewing through that 29254,
Look at this trap.
29277 bearish order block, but the major gamma walls at 29,140 and 29,122 below us are acting like a floor. My trap concern is that the bearish order block overhead is too obvious, which is basically an invitation for market maker gains. If price can't crack that 29,140 gamma support, any breakdown attempt here might just turn into a short trap before a bounce. I am leaning neutral and cautious until price either rejects from the 29254, 29277 resistance zone with conviction or proves it can hold that lower gamma support cluster. Trading this range right now feels like trying to wrestle a jellyfish, messy and probably not worth the effort.
We got a double analogy on that one. Anybody feel like where does he come up with this stuff? Anybody feel like wrestling a jellyfish? Could be messy. I don't know that I want to entertain that one. Okay, quickly guys, his level, again, levels matter, of 270. He is still staying neutral. He didn't really want to give one, but he mentioned that this 140 level is in a key institutional cluster, right? So any kind of pull here with a bounce could be a pretty good long play. He doesn't know that he quite trusts the push unless it can break through the institutional levels and the bearish order block he's watching at 277. Which kind of gives you a bearish cluster. And he's really not wrong, because if you think about it from a structure standpoint, you have a big old mess here, and then even if you pull backwards, right, this would be kind of your low from the supply demand areas. And so, you know, scalpers, you want to play it accordingly. And if you are one, I talked about in the mentor group this morning, who is more bias long, then you should wait for long setups. If you're more bias short, wait for short setups. So you need to set your stops accordingly, right? Because nobody really knows if we're trending or oscillating like yesterday until we do it. And so right now you can see it's heavily respecting this level. So if I'm wanting to play more shorts, they're going to be off of these key level rejections with stops just above it. A lot of what I like to do is trade reclaims, or I look for on the Heikanashis, the dojis, the absorptions. Right now we have a lot of dojis, and then we have a potential close below. Now, why I would not jump into a short here is some of my confluence, which is one Neo's level of 220, saying it is going to act as potential support for a gamma wall. Plus, I have a trap and block indicator pointing the push north. It's just enough for me to be a little cautious taking a short as long as we're above that. I would probably try to lean more long, right? If you want to take the shorts, you need to wait for a push here, scalp back, or a push into here. Some of my favorite trades are when, if I want to be short, it pushes through a level, comes back down, and closes back below a level. That's what's called a hunt, and then we reclaim right at the level. And so those are usually pretty good. So, like I said, if you are long or short, you got to wait for the trade setup to come to you. You don't want to force things that you're not comfortable with. As we push through here, you can see we are the chop pointing up. We are staying above the 220 as of now. For me, I would probably still be leaning more long than short. We are actually forming kind of a higher low, lower high sequence. We had a nice double top that ended up breaking down, but you can see if I pull to low of the structure here, or even to there, right, it was basically a 50 hold, and then we just disrespected the hell out of what it represents. So we'll go ahead and when you're ready to go, once you have your lines, your trade setups, all your stuff, then you can say, okay, I think we have the plan, the basic idea. Can you give me two things? One, give me, what do you see as the more important line on this chart? Kind of like what would flip your bias, where you would be long or short. What would we want to see? The other thing is, with that, give me a long or short setup. If you think both are viable because you're neutral, then give me both. I like to show you guys those kind of open questions because he's AI. So you can give him questions and
The
let
key
him figure it
line in the
out.
sand is that 29,255.68 institutional pivot. If we hold that, the bulls have a puncher's chance to test higher, but losing it basically hands the keys right back to the bears. For a long scalp, I would wait for a 1-minute bullish candle close above 29,277.00, which clears that bearish order block. The first meaningful target is 29,345.72. If price drops back below 29,255.68, that is your first warning, while structural invalidation sits at 29,222.25. The institutional flow is still selling, so I wouldn't bet the house on this one without confirmation.
All right, so institutional flow is selling, which yesterday they were buying. So what he is telling you is the 55 is kind of the line in the sand. So we'll make this one a different color. We'll just make this one like white, so you can see it easy. Anything below that, he is not interested in longs, and above that, right, he's not interested in shorts. Now you want to see how it's respecting, right? So as of right now, every time we break it, we lose it. So you'd want to see almost a push, a hold, and then a
Order
push.
filled.
His
Order filled.
his thesis is that that's the bias, right? A long is viable, he said, above 277 to 345. What he wants on that typically is a close, some kind of tap, and then a close above, and then you take that. Remember, everything's risk and reward, so you can each his own on that. Pressure's there. The confluence of things line up with it to where I definitely would not be short with this. And you can see there's the burst. So there's 300. So let's see if we got the burst. So 345 was his target. Let's see if we get a little rear back, which is normal. How far back the rear back goes is what really matters, guys. Just looking.
Nick, I just did that laddering and that worked out really well.
It's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, that defense, I normally would have jumped into that because when I see a chop like that with this kind of support, I would have already did that. But at times on open, guys, I'm not as worried. I had a really, really good day yesterday and took about a $7,000 payout, so I don't have any eager rushing that I need to do today on that. But so we got the structure forming like it should have, right? Push, higher low, lower high, out of a trap and block. That's your confluence, right? Above the 55 is what we were looking for. If you break this down and you take the high, and again, we were kind of using that low of the structure, you can see it respects. If I use the other low, right, from here to here, those
Order
respected
closed.
well. So any kind of push with a hold here is going to be likely a push up anyways. So now what I want to measure is his target with this trade was to get to 345. We know 300 is another institutional level that he talked about, so I'm expecting friction here. But what I don't want to see is deep friction. So we should not break 365, 368, somewhere there, because that would also be kind of your pennant, breakout, pull, retest on the 50, jump, right? How far that will likely jump depends on how far likely the retrace is. So right now, currently, our retrace, if you fib it, didn't even get to the 382. And we'll reclaim that 236, which is usually more up than down on that, right? And so let's look and see. So if we can get a good clean close above our 300, it leaves the door open pretty wide for that upper target. So let's watch and see. Looking to see. So we also have this area here. The 77 is a lot of prior highs. So we went from resistance, which if you look left was heavy resistance, and then we broke it. So we want to see this hold as support. It should not break it. If it sweeps it because of the volatility, that's fine. It just has to reclaim it really quickly, right? This is the MNQ1 exclamation. I like to trade, whether I'm trading NQ or MNQ, I just trade the MNQ for reasons that I talk about. And I do the exclamation mark because then I get the running contracts on that. So
Would you consider that a double top, Nick?
I mean it's just this little shoulder's ugly, but I mean in context it is because push, pull, right? But what I'd want to do is I have my bullish pattern that played. This is going to either push us, like I said, to here somewhere. I think that's what I say. Somewhere in here, like would be my kind of low. If it sweeps it, it's just got to reclaim it quickly. For me, when this is where Neo comes in handy, right? When I have trap and block north, line in the sand bias long, institutional level here and here, heavy resistance, trying to hold support. It's a risky short. Could it play out? Sure, but it's risky, right? Because all your confluence is showing further up, not down. And so, and look at that retest to the freaking dollar of that 50 right there. So let's see. So now we want to counter look and see how is the strength going back up on the pivots. So we take the high and the low. We get a close above here. It should spring. And so we'll see. His target when he said a close and hold above the 77 was 345. So we'll see if we get that high. Always remember, it's great to set TPs, but just remember to also make sure that you are trailing. And so from that. And so if you want to set up stop losses, we'll say you're in that, right? You know, he had said 255 is his line in the sand. I think he said right here, 222 is his structural invalidation. So pretty decent pull for a stop, right? Unless you play defensively like I was teaching on that. So let's see if we get it. As of right now, we're holding. We structurally, we hit here, had a nice absorption. We also went into a doji. We are not closed below, creating the confirmation of an invalidation. We have a potential double top that didn't play. Potential ugly looking head and shoulder, which may or may not play. There's also something I'm watching that I just seen develop, which is a beautiful little angle, right? So we might get something like this is what I want to watch. So this usually absorption is a southern play, but again, anything above that 255, I don't know that I trust it yet. But again, guys, if you just joined, I said earlier, good job, Michael. Today, it could respect the hell out of technicals, and it could not, because it is a wild day with the NVIDIA news that may come. So let's see how it respects our 255. Bulls would need to come in soon because it's also our 50 and our bias shift. So the bulls would have to come in here pretty soon, right? Plus, it's the thesis of my parallel that I was looking at possible, like that. Would be arguably somewhere in here, actually. So let's see if they want to kick in here. That institutional level above us is holding pretty strong. The bears kicked in. Do you think this is a bear trap, or you think they might have enough juice and data to support a reversal? Let's see what he says. If you're thinking something, you always want to ask him, so.
It doesn't look like a bear trap just yet. The bears aren't exactly doing backflips, but the structure is leaning their way. That 29,272.55 wall is acting like a bouncer, and until buyers can actually reclaim and hold above it, there's no trap to spring. Right now, we are failing to reclaim the pivot at 29,262.38. The short path opens up if we lose that 29,254.50 low, with a downside target at the 29,222.55 gamma wall. If we suddenly rip back above 29,272.55, then yes, the bears get embarrassed and we can talk about a long trap. Until then, the juice is all on the short side.
Okay, so see the parallel playing out, though? Remember, his 55 was his line in the sand. Looks like that 29,255 line in the sand you gave us earlier is holding pretty good support. Not sure if you're seeing that because I started talking right when I did that. But on my chart, it's holding good support. I asked him here, so he's going to be like, what support? What are you, blind? It's funny what he
You're
does.
seeing it right. Price is sitting on that 29,272.83 gamma support wall like it's a favorite couch. The bears are definitely still lurking because institutional flow is trying to push sell pressure, so it's not exactly a clean long yet. If price decides to take a nosedive back through that wall and the pivot at 29,262, the support party is over pretty quick.
So see how that pivot, isn't that funny on that double top ask, right? And isn't it funny how I taught that a bit back where something bearish can end up flipping bullish. It's possible, right? And so one of the things I teach heavily, especially on the mentoring side, is which is includes VIP also more times than not lately, is I love these angles, guys. When I see tops create certain angles, or I begin to see bottoms create certain angles, immediately I'm looking at that, because that will likely trump everything else that's going on. So, but let's see, we're getting a little bit of volume coming through. Again, we have a trap and block supporting it. We are holding our bias above, and we're holding now a break and retest of our 277. So a close above here now will likely propel pretty good, because it would be a breakout of it all. So a bull flag or parallel breakout has to be continuation, meaning it needs to create deep expansion. Then it can come in to retest that, and then that would create the extension. If it does not, and it pushes and instantly gets slammed down, then it flips into invalidation. So let's see where it goes here if it wants to get full play out. But love this trap and block for anybody who wants that. Our indicators are like 20 bucks. This trap and block one, this purple block that we have, that we do, it's right here, trap and block engine, is insane. Many of you already know that who use it. That one kind of got stumbled upon. I didn't even have the idea for Paul to make that one, but I was heavily studying with Paul for a very long time, traps, and he kind of took a lot of that logic I was going through where we were studying and just kind of one day said, I think I'm onto something. All that trap stuff you talk about, I put it all together and it actually was pretty good. And so he showed me and I'm like, holy shit. And so it's pretty cool. But you can see it playing out again, right? Look at anytime the lettering is below, that's the trap south and it's going up. And so far it's playing out as we anticipated, right? Identify the early potential structural pattern. We got the hold on the bias that Neo talked about. Remember, when you're talking to Neo, the levels are the most important thing. Bias that he had was above the 255. We know there's an institutional gamma wall at 277 being respected pretty well. We know 300 is also a wall. We know we had a pretty good bullish pattern flip. Now it has to get extension. So the thing that a lot of people mistake in trading is that there's two things that happen all the time in trading. And no, not the answer of we're going up or down. It's we are either validating or invalidating something. An invalidation can be just as violent as a validation. In the example, bull flags get people messed up because they think once you break it, it's valid and we're going to the moon. Sometimes they're right? They are if it's valid. But I've seen many times a bull flag, think about it, and this will blow a lot of your minds, a bull flag that cannot create extension and fails becomes a double top, right? It's just the leg of the double top. And so we're trying to see, is this a bull flag extension or is it going to be a failed extension that invalidates? So an invalidated bull flag is just another leg of a double top. That's higher time frame likely. So anybody in the long, I'm in the long on it. I had a couple of DCA plays, but
Oh, I trailed just a smidge too close. And it got me right.
See, what
Right
I've
at
learned,
around 311.
my star TikTok people like Alton and you know others, and sometimes even Radius out there will, you know, I tell them I trailed it a little tight, and they go, "Dude, take it to TP. He's hit it every time," and then it hits it, and I'm like, I got people watching that are following it more than me, so maybe I'm gonna do it too then. And so you don't want to give up profit. You know, so I do have a way that I teach people, and we did it in the mentoring one. I did a defensive trading strategy that they're able to watch. So if you're part of VIP, you're gonna want to watch that as well. So I do that. That way I'm actually securing profit as it goes in case it pulls back too hard on me, right? So we want to identify what is the candles doing. So again, remember a bull flag push has to create extension enough to hold these highs. For us to pull back to 300 is fine, but it really shouldn't pull too much further than that. Otherwise, it's going to show a little weakness within, right? If we pull the whole 50, it would put it to 290. That would be like the lowest. I would probably let it pull. One thing that I'm looking at, I just noticed, I don't know if it's going to be viable or not, but you always want to continue. Oops, I did not mean to do that. You always want to be looking, right? And so you can almost see there's a potential channel, right, that we're following like that. See if I was extend the bottom somewhere in here, right? We're just basically following a channel as well. So if you're one that loves the channels, you can draw that. I have enough stuff on my chart. So as this pushes up, we might hit 345 or potentially up into the prior highs and then break the channel back down. Could be very possible. So be careful as you're tracing it. Don't chase it too far. Are you on here, Bobby? So anybody do the 25K rapids for my funded? I can't remember. I never do 25K, but I had a free one. So I don't know what my target is. I have 500 on it now. I didn't even look. I'll have to look it real quick. Unless somebody knows. I think it's usually 750, right? 15.
750.
Yeah, 15. That's what I thought. Okay, so I gotta get a little more on that one. Okay. Yeah, I think I will do that. Okay. So I'm still in this long. I got the TP on it. I trailed a little back here and then added back, but I have my TP at like 43.75. I don't like to typically put it at the TP. He ends up hitting it more times than not eventually, but there's times where you'll get really close and then drop, right? And you don't want to give up everything just because you wanted to squeeze every last little bit. out of it. Yeah, so we'll see how this pushes. So as we're pushing, we know that we're channeling. So for us to push up to here would actually still follow suit with the channel, so it lines up. We know the bull flag call flip played out. Hopefully people did that. That long, or you're trailing it. Anybody in this long or took it? Maybe you got trailed out.
I got out, but I took it.
Cool. Yeah. So this would be our structural pivot. Now I want to begin to watch the trade, right? This is where a lot of people don't know how to do this, or they just get lazy and don't. We don't want to have one plan and we just wait and hope, right? We want to study. And so as you will watch, I use this ruler quite a bit because it is easy. I want to look at a pivot that pushes, and I'm going to see how far it comes down. So we got 50% around here, 294. That would be our measure for what it could do, right? So we could easily hit this, and it's well within normal. If it wants to really explode, it should not break that. It just shouldn't. We are forming an ugly double top again. If I want to fib it, I'm looking at that only if I want to see the actual strength. So if it pulls here, can't get to the 0.5, holds 382, reclaims 236, then it's going to jump again. If we lose 382, hit the 0.5 or 618, and we cannot reclaim the 382, it will drop. The moment you reclaim the 382, it will jump. And so it's just kind of a really cool tool that I've been using a lot with the mentor side. Just to teach retracements and stuff. So I go a little deeper into it with them. So let's see if we get this hold. Do they want to lose it with the reversal? Looks like the bull flag I was watching played out. We're now kind of holding that 300 as support. Are you expecting further upside based on the data you're seeing? Let's see what he shares.
Holding 29,300 is nice, but we are staring at a keep out sign at the 29,320.67 wall. My bias is cautious
another
bullish.
wall.
Structure is trying, but institutional flow is still playing the Grinch by selling into the strength. The trap is buying right into 29,320.67, which is basically an invitation to get your stop hunted. I need a 1-minute bullish body close above 29,320.67 to trust further upside. If we reject that and lose 29,296, we likely head back to the 29,272.83 support.
Okay. Let's ask him, if we do get the break and hold above the 320, what would be the new target if I'm in a long or wanting to go long? So again, you always want to keep asking him questions, guys. He'll pull the data every time you talk to him.
If we actually muscle through 29,320 and stick the landing, 29,345.67 is the first wall on our way to the penthouse. If the bulls are feeling particularly brave and keep the momentum, 29,380.67 is the next major resistance level. Just don't get too cozy up there, because institutional flow is still trying to dump this thing, and a failure back below 29,295 would be a massive oops moment for the breakout.
So you guys see what it's trying to do again? So let's see if it gets respected again. So 320, apparently they threw a new wall in that. So that's good, because if you're in the long, you kind of have your line in the sands, if you will, right? Anything below that 277, you're going to have to kill it, right? Anything that is below here is going to run the risk of pulling, which is what he was talking about. If we can muscle through this, then hold it, then it's going to hit that target, or likely the deeper target that he talked about. One of the things I'm kind of looking at, you can see we have our chop, our drop, our lower chop. Usually, you know, that's classic. If we can reclaim the low, reclaim the high, would support it. But it's got to reclaim that high to support it. So we just want to kind of watch it a little and see, is it doing what it should do? So I set up a couple defensive plays, more so long. And just watching if I want to take any rungs off it. So we got to see how this is reacting to this level here. I would expect a sweep, but I want to see absorption. Okay, we got a little absorption. See that? Little sweep with absorption. Now, if this closes above that, it would have momentum, right? So we need to watch the close of that. So for people who are new to kind of watching me, my trading is, I look at it a little differently. A lot of similarities, but I teach it differently. Really, there's only three things that are important in trading, which is structure, the candle progression, what it's doing, and then the order flow, right? How much volume is coming in. Everything else is just confluence, right? And so structure, like Neo was saying, is leaning more bullish because of the fact that we are higher, high, higher, low. We are channeling, which we know at some point breaks south. Got to be a little concerned-ish because we know that institutions are trying to sell, according to him. Doesn't mean that they won't let retail drive it higher, though. So I want to keep all those things in mind. And so we know the structure is more bullish, but there's a potential, if we break this channel that I had earlier, for us to drop pretty good. So if we lose that channel, which I would just gauge it mostly as the 7-7 here, if we can lose that, and then it becomes act as resistance, I would expect a pretty deep pull. Anything that stays above that, I'm watching to see how we're getting the order flow volume in. Does it respect not only the channel, but we keep getting little minute bull flags, right? Which this one failed to create an extension like we wanted. Kind of tried to hold the high, which is still relevant. But those I teach know that extension is not dead in the water unless we break and hold below our 50, and we're still holding that. Now, if we break that, it's dead in the water, right? Now you can break it and absorb it, right, and still be fine. But we got to see how the candles react from within. So, anything else we should know about that you're seeing that maybe we wouldn't be able to see on the chart that we should be concerned of as traders? So again, you can ask him open-ended questions. It doesn't have to be direct. And he will think on it and let
The
you know.
market basically has a split personality right now. The big institutional flow is screaming, sell, with persistent negative pressure, but the live price structure is stubbornly holding above the 29,295 gamma support wall. My main concern is that we're being squeezed in this compression zone. The institutional sellers are trying to drag us down, but the live price action keeps rejecting lower. If that 29,295 support crumbles, those institutional sellers might finally get the juice they need to accelerate the move lower. Until then, it's just a choppy wrestling match that I'd rather watch from the sidelines.
Got it. Speaking of wrestling, let's do a little fun. So I'm watching a bull flag, potentially that might play out. And so if we can reclaim that 300, it would play out. And so I want to kind of watch that. But if we do reject deeply from this, it might collapse. But give me all of your TA here going forward responses in a wrestling theme. Let's have some fun on Wednesday. Figured why not. So we're still respecting this channel, but we're dropping lower than I'd like.
The bulls
for
are
sure.
trying to set up their finishing move with this flag, but the institutional bears are playing dirty on the outside. We are currently holding above the 29,300 mat, so if the bulls can keep their feet there, they might get enough leverage to climb the ropes toward that 29,345 wall. But watch out. If they get tossed back below 29,288, that flag is getting body slammed, and we are heading for a pin at the 29,243 institutional support. This isn't a confirmed victory lap yet, so don't throw your chair until they clear the 29,345 hurdle with a body slam worthy candle close.
So I was doing a quick fib from the low to the high now that we have this established high, and we broke the 382, so 0.5, which is 270, is kind of was less hope on the 0.5. Could get back to this low. I find it interesting fibbing it out now that the 618 is exactly where these prior lows and his line in the sand. So if this channels like I think it might, and we can reclaim the 382 with some kind of strength and the 236, that would give it the steam. if we hit here and reject and reject and reject, close below there, we would need a sweep absorption to go up. Otherwise, if it loses that 618, yeah, it's going to come down to these lower levels. So let's just watch and see how the candles react and see. So this is kind of that low of the channel. It's got a jump or it's not respecting that. And then we know we can invalidate. So we're back into our trap and block area as well. Looking to see. This is good. If I can reclaim here, that would be pretty good validation because of that 277 being big. Any adjustments in our institutional levels that I should be watching for?
Looks like the levels have shifted a bit while we were busy with that bull flag wrestling match. The main institutional pivot and gamma support have moved down to 29,229.01, which is now the key level to hold rather than our previous 29,300 anchor. Overhead, 29,345.67 remains the gamma resistance wall to pin. Since institutional flow is still showing some sell pressure despite our bullish structure, the market is currently stuck in a compression hold. Watch if it can reclaim 29,300. If it fails, the next real test is that 29,229.01 institutional support.
Okay. So we're in a pretty good deep lead, guys. We're back on that 255. Remember, that was also the 618 of the whole structure. So to me, this is a make or break for these guys. For the bulls to kick in. Otherwise, the bears might take this over. Because this channel is going pretty deep. Yeah, a little sweep. So 230 was his next floor. So this channel theory is collapsing. Likely due to the failed bull flag there. So let's see if his 230 floor that he called becomes viable. Yeah, we just had a pretty good bearish impulse back down towards that 230. What would it need to reclaim for us to see it as a fake out? So I want to see if we get any buyer stuff coming in here. So remember, with the sweeps and the reclaims are usually the better ones, but this is that instance where taking the early
tried to introduce our
target's
backs to the
good.
basement near 29,240, but it hasn't actually closed or held below that institutional support block yet. To call that move a total fake, a classic bear trap, I need to see price reject the 29,240 support area and then reclaim and hold above 29,289.25. If price can't get back above that level, the bears are still having the last laugh, and we could see a retest of that institutional support zone. Manage the risk. Don't fight the impulse until the structure actually flips.
Just looking at something. Okay. I'm not really buying the short yet, so I'm thinking we might get a little impulse here, but because we're getting the hold on the trap here with 230 as his support, with it being the kind of our 618 was right there actually. So this is gonna be big because if it sweeps, hits, closes, it'll impulse. And so let me look at. See how we're getting the sweep? I want to get a close. I'd rather get an impulse with a hold with a close would be ideal. Because a sweep, a hold would be still seen as failure. Let's see. Do you still see the 255.5 as our line in the sand for bias? Or do you think that should be adjusted a bit? See how we're getting the rejection as of now. So let's see if we double bottom it.
Honestly, 29,255.5 is looking more like a speed bump than a line in the sand right now. Since we're trading at 29,263.25, that level is just support, and it doesn't have the authority to flip the bias on its own. If you want a real boss fight, level where the bias actually shifts. Look up at the institutional pivot at 29,277.45. Until we reclaim that and hold above it, the bears are still running the show on the institutional flow.
Okay. So see what I was looking at there, guys, and this is going to be big. That 230 is going to be a pretty big level in this area here for sure as we're touching. Because if you look, the actual low of the pivot, which is all the way there, and then we pull this all the way up, that's right at a 0.5, which would be a normal push pull 0.5. So that's what I'm watching. Any deep bounces here that reclaim the 382 will likely jump pretty hard. So that's gonna be a big one. So if we collapse through like 230, 229, it's gonna fall pretty far. That's kind of your short setup. Anything in here, I think shorting is still dangerous because if we hold the 0.5 in the trap and block above the 5-minute Lisma, above his 30 institutional level, right? Then it's gonna have a really good bounce. But it has to reclaim. Remember, anything that lost in the reclaim. But as of right now, bears are pushing, so we just need to see, is there any signs of life? But again, you know, shorting it into here is dangerous. You'd want to break below there and then have the OA there. If you want to go long, you want to wait for some kind of impulse, maybe a little weak higher low, and then confluence, right, to support it as well, which we are trying to get here.
What do you think about taking an entry past the 255 level to go long?
Well, so that's why I was asking him, right? So he was saying 255 doesn't seem as viable. Doesn't really love it anymore until we get above the 277. And so we can take that off. So his target, I believe, is still that 345, 380. But if you got trailed out, right, on the last one, it's not viable till you reclaim and hold. Then he thinks that the buyers will shift, which makes sense structure wise too, because it would also be kind of a break back of that channel that we had. So plus it would be a loss and reclaim, right? We bounced perfectly on his 230 levels, so we'll see. Right now we're getting a little bit of a show of support. It's also a big structural level on the 50. Either way, I wouldn't short into it. If you decide you want to take a long, you can do it like I taught in the thing defensively to be prepared to fight it to the low, or you can take a higher volume long with a stop loss just below all this. That's your choice, right? Everything in trading is risk and reward. You gotta know what risk you want to do, and you know, higher risk, higher reward. We know that we have kind of a little trend structure here. We got to push, a pull, could be an early inverse head and shoulder of sort. And so we want to see, where does this push to? If we get a push here and a rejection, the moment I get a rejection red candle, I want to identify how deep it goes, right? It's the most important thing. So let's see. Adjust something. Cause I'm playing again mostly defensive, and so I got long separations out. I think I need that much. I'm gonna put this here. Right. So structurally, it's doing what it should have done, right? Pull here. We have a little pullback. Measure it from a fib to identify the strength of the pullback. We hit the 0.5 and we reclaim 236. The moment this closes above that 236, ideally the 3 or the 0, we should get extension. If we don't and we get absorption, then it's a fake out, right? We're getting a little trap block there, so we'll see. This is interesting. We got a bigger trap block with a little trap block. So we got a little push from that where we needed. Now, mind you, the other shoulder's pretty low, so we could get a potentially pretty low one, but I'm not loving the trap and block there because it's pretty good, but we're in a case of which one's stronger, right? This one, that one. And so Neo up there just trading along. This is the NASDAQ that we're looking at. So just doing a little education mixed with TA. So with the help of Neo here. So far that 230 level you gave is holding pretty strong. Do you have data that suggests that might hold, or you think they have enough to push it through it? Let's see what he says. Remember, if you have questions, whether it's data,
That
nervous, whatever, ask them.
29,236.27 level is a major gamma wall. It's essentially a liquidity trampoline right now. It isn't necessarily a sinister plot to defend it, it's just a thick pocket of liquidity that's acting like a magnet for price. The real conflict is that while price is technically hovering above institutional support, the flow bias is still leaning bearish. That's exactly why we're stuck in compression city. If price holds that 29,236 wall, the buyers get a pass to test higher. But if it loses that wall with a clean candle close, the bears will likely try to turn that floor into a ceiling.
Interesting little sweep wick. Want to see if it absorbs at all, otherwise the bulls might be in trouble a bit. Which would be interesting. I didn't expect that. Let's see now. Yeah. I want to see some absorption here. We're coming into the 5-minute Lismo. We're still in our block. It's kind of funny because this is that instance where this block could be correct, which it was, but then this block could be correct, right? Because it's 15 second. So we're breaking that 230. So this might give us a pretty good sweep, guys. It's definitely bleeding down long lower than I thought it would. We had a nice little inverse play, but the trap block told us right off the bat it's a trap. And we're getting a pull there. So a decent scalp for me here would be if we can sweep this, reclaim the 230 with some kind of strength, then we'll likely go back to the 276. Anything below here would likely sweep us lower to here. So let me look at something here. Definitely bleeding down lower than I thought it would go here. Bought our block. I'm just looking to see if I see anything else on it. Where are we hitting? Oh, we're hitting around the 618. Okay. So this is the make or break for the larger structure. So we swept it, reclaimed it. If this holds, reclaims the 0.5, that would be the jump I've been kind of watching. If we lose this 618, then 176 will be our next low. But even though it's annoying, you look how it's respecting. 382 rejection, goes to the 618, get a bounce off the 618. It's just normal. So like I said, for me, a decent little scalpy trail quickly would be is if we can get a push through that 0.5, because then that would tell us it's a 382 to 618 back to 382. Could be early, but it might set up a potential inverse head and shoulder play, because it would be good shoulder, head, shoulder. So again, it's all theoretical until it actually does it. A reclaim of that 0.5 is heavily needed for that to be viable at all. Bears are pushing. As of right now, we have push rejection on the 0.5. So again, that puts the next low at 176, unless it can sweep absorb again. And again, those who are just joining and watching, I said about 40 times this morning, what I go through is I'm going to teach you or show you what it should do. I highly anticipated today to be a very not following what it should do because of the NVIDIA news. And so I want to see if we can identify the traps or the anomalies that it's trying to present, right? But let's just keep seeing how this goes. And this is where you don't want to be super aggressive in your trades, and you definitely want to leave your volume low. Otherwise, you're gonna get caught. So we know that we lost some critical levels, right? We lost here, rejected on the 382, held the 0.5, rejected on the 382 again, lost it, tried to reclaim it, lost it, hit the 618, swept it, reclaimed it, rejected on the 230 level that Neo called institutional, lost it. Now we lost the 618. This should, because it where it is, if you get a close below this level, sweep the 786. If it sweeps and reclaims the 618, then it's a trap, right? And so you're trying to identify what it should do and what it shouldn't do. So it'll help you keep safe on whether you're getting caught in traps or not. So see the clean rejection, the close below, and we get the extension. So from a downslide, it's doing what it's supposed to do as of right now in this shift anyways. So let's see if it gets all the way to the 786, or do buyers come in at all? Let me see. Okay, so remember, if you're a long person, you're gonna want to let it play through and then wait for the long setup as it begins to break down. So currently we're still high or low, so we could still heavily bounce here. There's a potential. Not liking it though. This thing just wants to sweep for days. This thing came way deeper than I thought it would. It's interesting because he did call that 345 target, and this is kind of why I was saying about the trail it, because otherwise you get caught. He didn't quite hit it yet. And then the 320 was his next key level, which we did reject. And then from there, it's been trying to follow a bearish suit. I was looking for any kind of potential upgrade, but no such luck. Or upside, I mean. So now it's boiling down to me larger structure-wise. So we have our prior lows. Does this hold a higher low and begin to reclaim those fibs that we want? If it does, up we go. If it doesn't, then down we go further. See if we get this set up at all. Let's ask them now. So we broke that 230, and we definitely got a lot of bear downside. Any level you think that the buyers might heavily try to defend down here?
That bearish slide just turned our old floor at 29,174.25 into a retest ceiling. If buyers want to show any signs of life, the major gamma wall down at 29,117.02 is the next serious trampoline they'd likely try to defend. I wouldn't bet the farm on it holding yet, though, until price can reclaim the 29,174 area. The bears are still calling the shots and hunting for that 29,117 support.
We're reclaiming that 786, guys. Let me look at this. I'm gonna trail this one.
You're trailing long?
I've been defensively long the whole time. The same thing I did yesterday. Remember, when I'm watching TikTok, YouTube, Google Meet, analyzing, trading, it's not as easy for me to just do singulars. So I teach people how to do the trailing defensive. So that's why I was looking right. I had to adjust a couple of limits and stuff, and I added a rung on the reclaim here. So we'll see if I get a little extension. So when you lose this and reclaim it, I want to see a tap jump, ideally. If I see a tap, close, pull, down it goes lower. Let's look and see. So I got the tap. Let's see if we get the close back above. See the tap? So I'm looking for any signs. Now remember, larger structure-wise, we did a full reclaim, but we're still higher low. See, barely. But it still is. So this is where you want to, if you were shorting this, not be doing that anymore. Ideally. Just looking at a couple of these I have, because I'm doing a few accounts. So I gotta look and see how my limit orders are lining up. Okay. So remember what I was saying. I want to see it begin to behave like it would on a reversal. So we lost something that we needed to hold into that V that I talk about. Then we reclaimed it. Remember I was saying I wanted a tap, close above. And so we got that. To continue to watch the behavior to show strength is anything from the pivot that holds 50, which is going to be right around 78, is still strong. Anything that holds higher, like the fib, see like a 382, that bounces would show even stronger. And so all those levels matter. Yeah, so I want to see. Get that little impulse north, which I bet you we do. Let's see. A little pull. Just trying to do some quick little math on one of these. Alright. So we're getting everything we need. Now, to get strength, we just gotta reclaim some certain lows here, guys. It's ideal. I'm just setting up some areas here. Okay. So, again, reclaimed it, tap, hold, close above. We got our higher low, push. Now I just want to get a close up there to give the extension, which will likely come try to test that 618. That 618 is going to be really big now, guys, because now we have the sweep, and this is our low, our high that rejected us. Any kind of reclaim of this level, really that 230 for sure, up in there is going to be pretty big. Until then, right, we're just kind of a little bit of a bounce. So I would suspect if it wants to have any kind of strength, it would at least come tap the 210, and then depending how that reacts, how deep it sweeps it. Just looking at that, that should be good. That's 210, yeah. One of mine that I was doing my final run, if I can get to the 6818 tap, then that will be done with that one. So we're getting a little bearishness, but it's supposed to because it's testing a prior high. Notice how we're absorbing into that. That doesn't usually scream short. So if it just drops, it's not supposed to do that the way it's candle progressing. Of course, it closed $4 away from what I needed. I got that one. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. That's good. Okay. So we're still pushing. We are getting a little absorption south, but again, it's normal. What I want to see though is even if we get a drift back, it shouldn't drift back too far. So I'm going to take the high low in the pivot. Here's the 382. There's the 0.5. Anything that stays above here, upside we go. Well, let's see. Looks like the buyers are trying to buy down near those lower levels. What level do you have institutionally or otherwise that we would watch for this little push to hold or lose to determine if we're shifting back north? Let's check with Neo and see what he says. And that's 1035 already. Whew. That's just the retracement up here.
The buyers are trying to play hero, but they're walking right into a double whammy. The institutional pivot and gamma resistance sitting at 29218.7. That level is basically the bouncer for the club. If they can't reclaim and hold that with a 1-minute close, they aren't getting past the velvet rope, and the bearish flow will likely send them back down to the 29,111.92 support floor. If they actually punch through that 29,218 pivot, the bias finally shifts from bearish nightmare to maybe the bulls aren't totally cooked.
He cracks me up. Maybe they're not totally cooked. There we go. We'll see how it's still doing. I mean, I took the fib thing off. I think that's the 382 right here. See? Tap the 382. Perfect. Extension to the 618 like it should. Now the moment of truth is I want to pivot to a higher pivot, pun intended. We'll take it to that one. We're testing 0.5. If we break above 225, that supports a deeper move. The larger structure would support a push up to 226. That would be a make or break. If we reclaim 226, 230, it's going up pretty big. If we don't, then it's going to come back down. Oh, that's cool. That just hit every single one of my TPs. That worked. Well, one, I made 150 too much. The other two I was doing, I missed it by $20 on my... Let's see if I can get my little quick $20 here. Anybody in the long doing that? I'm going to explain something in just 1 second, but I'm just curious. The beauty of it, guys, from scalping is we can be very bullish, be very bearish, to flip back very, very bullish, guys. We literally don't know, but we could oscillate like this the entire freaking day. And it's possible because when you have earnings like this, they don't usually like to break it out unless they have hidden secrets of cheat codes, which, let's be honest, a lot of times they do. We get a massive spike, it's because somebody leaked the cliff notes. So I would expect 233 to hold. If it doesn't, then 257 would be the next resistance. So 230, though, he said was really good resistance. From a structure standpoint, you know, I don't put a lot of trend lines because I have a lot going on anyways, and I'm not a big fan of trend lines now that I've understood how they're developed, but we did break it, right? So we want to measure more so the strength. So we know that the pull here had a low. We pushed into it. We held a strong 382 hold with a push through it. Inducement, right? Through our low. Now it's testing this prior low here. We want to also do the same thing, right? We take the pivot and Heikin-Ashi and we're going to measure the strength. So anything that holds above that 212 is going to jump again because it's just normal controlled pullbacks. Once you learn how to, good job, Brady, how to identify that kind of stuff, right? It will make you have a lot less emotion as well because you're going to get the push and the pull, and that controlled pullback is going to be what you're going to eventually identify as normal, right? It's supposed to do that. I mean, like even this, rejecting on that is supposed to do that. You have a prior high, or prior low, an institutional level at 230. I mean, a 0.5, you know, that we had from this one. I'm going to delete that one because that one we're not using anymore. It's supposed to do that, right? So even a pull here is supposed to do that. So now we're just trying to gauge how strong is the buyers, and that's where this retracement tool comes in. Anything that holds 0.5 reclaims 82 and 236 is going to jump. So that's just a controlled pullback, and the buyers are still in control. A reclaim of this low will likely come test up into here. We were talking about, right? The 58 area. I'm just looking at something real quick, guys. Thought I had a order on this one, but I guess not. I think it would be about right there. Yeah, so let's see. Again, I would be careful shorting for now. Just because we are in one of those situations where we have a deep push followed by a deep reclaim, right? Creating this, for those in the mentor group, you guys know I've been talking heavily about the V's, right? So it creates that V. Now, the tricky part about a V is if a higher low from the other leg is held, it's not a very strong V.
Order
If it
closed.
breaks that 50, then it's an invalidation, which is going to also move as far north as it would south. So right now, that's why this 50 of this leg, which we can measure, would be more there to there. So this right here, 244, is your critical mark in the sand, I think. If it hits that and loses these levels again, it's sweeping hard. But if we reclaim that, it's invalidation, then it's going to sweep north hard. So let's see which way that it wants to take us. But guys, it's 10:40. If you guys have questions, please ask. I am looking through. Looks like some of you have answered the questions for me, so I do appreciate you guys helping do that. But if you guys have good. What?
I have a question. With NVIDIA coming out this afternoon, what have you seen in the past if they expect bullish news? Don't you think they'd want to push the price down to buy low?
But they've been doing that. I mean,
even more.
Well, not necessarily. Because, so what happens is, keep in mind, right, we were here 9 days ago, right? And so they already drove it down a lot, like what, 1,600 points. And so we're already kind of down. So if anything, what they do is, now could it go lower? Of course, right? It depends on all that. But what they try to do sometimes is they will accumulate, which is what they did yesterday, right? Where we had those big northern spikes, big drop, big northern spike, big drop, right? They're just buying, basically. Yesterday, I found it interesting because they were buying, but we were bearish most of the day. And so it tells you they were kind of accumulating. Today, they've flipped to selling temporarily. So I'm going to check with Neo to see if that's still true. But oops, I didn't mean to do that. So it's a little tricky part is, remember, we always want to, let me do this. Let me just hide the indicators. Okay. We always want to understand the whole structure, right? And so if you take our low here, and I think we identified there, right? Ignoring this pivot, because I'm just taking from there to there. This is just failed extension. It's interesting, we respected the hell out of the 236 along the way. We lost it, rejected off of it, hit the 382, which is right where we bounce, into the 236, which is around 390. And now we're just kind of midland. So could we come back all the way down to 382? Of course, right? I mean, that's the range they want to play in. But normally, historically, in my experience with NVIDIA, is they will drive the hell out of the price down for all the early birds that took the worm, and bleed them all out, and then accumulate, and then the day of they chop like crazy with traps, and then out of nowhere you'll get some crazy ass candle up or down depending depending on how the actual news is going to come out. So, but I know there's always going to be the possibility the news can be bearish. You always have to be ready for that. But this is where the emotional side of the game comes in. I will tell you, I have gotten my butt whooped more times trying to short an NVIDIA earning day than I have going long in an NVIDIA earning day. And so that's why I had a really good payout yesterday. I don't really have a lot of interest in over trading. That's why I'm only really trading my evals today, just to build up a few extras. That's probably all I'll do today, mostly. Because it's just not days like today are days that just get crazy. So, but I will probably, I'm not even gonna say probably, I'm not taking any shorts. If this thing just builds bearishness and drops, I'll let it go. I'm done. I have no FOMO, right? But that's my own historical preference from trading NVIDIA news. So you're going to see, and they do the hell out of this thing, man, where I'm sure many of you have been caught in this. They will push and drop it, and then they're going to push, and then they're going to drop it, and then they're going to push, and then they're going to set up the drop. You're going to go short, and they're going to push. And then you're stuck because that last little push is a break a channel and it moonshots, and you are absolutely destroyed. And that has happened many, many times on NVIDIA. So that's why kind of the pre-market I was mentioning, my preference, no matter what it does, is I'm mostly going to be long, if not all long, and I will
Order
play it
filled.
defensively,
Order filled.
or I will if I see it flipping deeply bearish, I just won't trade it. I don't have to trade it. Again, and I keep mentioning it because it's really what you guys should do, whether you get a payout, whether you have a good day. If you had a great day yesterday, or you got a payout yesterday, or you've got a payout this week, or you got a great week this week, today is a day that can definitely destroy your entire week if you chase things. And so just be really careful. But let me see. Yeah, let me look at something. Should be good. I have my rungs that I'm setting up, as you guys know, so I'm looking at where my TPs are and where the pull is. But the beauty is, as you guys can see, we
Order closed.
a couple things that go through my mind, right, lesson wise, because as we approach 11 here, is the fact that the bullish push Neo called, as well as my continuation that I was calling from the flags, played out well, right? This one here played out well. Did not get the extension. Remember what I said? Usually when you identify a flag, it has to extend and hold, or it's a weak extension and it's going to inverse. And so, but I don't believe in, and I do not like when people hindsight teach. I can easily go, you didn't catch this? Like, it's clear as day. I mean, look at this. It's all there, right? You never want to hindsight it, right? But what I will tell you, the push made sense. This push makes sense. This failure makes sense, but I did not think it would failure all the way back. So I'm not going to take any kind of credit for this deeper extension. I was thinking we would fail, pull, if it did, hit around that area there, because that's the 618. This would reclaim it, and it would jump. That's what I was anticipating. And the reason I like to share those things is because nobody is perfect, guys. You're going to make mistakes, and you're trading and your TA and all that, and it's okay. You have to be willing to take risks of anticipation. I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out, because this is one of those ugly sideways inverse end shoulders that a lot of people miss. Also, if I go higher time frame on a 1 minute, this is likely my V with a 50 hold. So if I get closed, that's usually a reclaim up all the way up top. Interesting. But you should always be studying. So for anybody on TikTok watching, there's some that it's funny. I talked to some people on videos and on DMs and if anybody wants to chime in, I'd love to know. But most people who trade high time frames do not know how to treat low time frames. Most people who are longer day trading style, whether you're a position trader, day trader, whatever, do not do very well in scalping.
Well,
Yeah, except for Cody. He's an expert at everything. Look, once upon a time, I started the class by welcome to the class, and he's like, thanks, appreciate it, got everything I need. He's AI. He's like already downloaded your thoughts. Guys, that's scary because with all the technology coming on, that's what it's going to be. All right, guys, thanks for joining the class. Everybody tie into my Bluetooth in my head here. Okay, you downloaded everything I know about it, guys. Appreciate you coming.
I'm a machine.
Hopefully I'm in a rock.
Working.
But by the time that happens, I'm hoping I'm in a rocking chair sitting on 100 acres complaining about it. That would be my these damn chips in my head. I'd never put it. I can see Cody now. I'm not putting no chip in my head from no clanker.
Right.
Cody, I always love, man, that you do a great job pivoting me off the serious to joking again. It's fun. Oh man, Cody's never allowed to leave.
I just can't control myself.
That's why I think we get along very well. Anyways, but yeah. So, like I said, guys,
Whatever we were saying, yeah.
Back on what I was saying, which is what no, the yeah, you want to make sure, like I said, the biggest thing, guys, if you want to learn how to scalp, you're going to want to check us out if you're not already. You're going to want to join my lives. I do a lot of free teaching, more probably than I should, and half the time more than I intend on doing, because I'll tell you one thing that I have, and people in here know this about me. I have a little bit of a kind of a we'll call it something that a lot of people don't have in this industry, and I know it's weird, but it is called a conscience. I know it's weird. Who has that? Hold on, let me look at something because I think I don't need this much on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. That should be good. No, yeah, good job. Okay, I'm at all my trades. But I have a little bit of a conscience, and what that means is I don't like knowing something that can help or change your trajectory in trading and just holding out from it, right? Now, my conflict that I get into is the balance between I have to respect those that are part of programs that teach a lot deeper, right? Otherwise, why be in any programs? But I also want to give enough to help those that are just getting an idea of things, right? And also, I think the last part of it is it's always really important, especially for me, to trying to think how I want to put that right. So I think there's a lot of bad in the industry, meaning people that are not nearly as knowledgeable about trading as they claim to be. And so I think it's also important. I do this purposely because I want you to see that yes, you can anticipate candles. Yes, there is a different way to trade. Yes, there is a different way. Oh, good job. Yeah. No, that was good. That was a good push, pull, reclaim. It's holding, like I said, the projector. I expected at least 0.5, but I expected a breakthrough, like I was saying earlier. Uh, yeah, this is a big thing, guys, because like I was saying, I'm gonna pivot for a second. The V, right? So if you take that, it's not. But if you take here, and if I were to go a higher time frame, it would be more this actually. So we have like a lower one, probably 30-second, into a higher one, right? You got that one, which is good because you have extension with hold of the 50 creates extension. Now we have another one on the 1 minute, which might even be more 2 minute, depending. Oops, that is, if you guys in the mentor group see that push, we have a high, anything that holds above the 50 of that last leg here will create another extension. But the biggest thing I want to share, guys, and we have 5 minutes before I break off into my mentor VIP groups, is there's more ways to trade than one. And even if you're not a scalper, it's good to learn how to identify low progressions in the charts. And so, in the open session, I'm going to always be doing my best to keep you guys safe, teach you what to do. You know, if you ended up long on this, which, like I said, I was mostly long through all my accounts, but I can survive something like this kind of based on how I teach it, but also because of just managing your volume, right? And so if this would have broken this level, would have been really bad. But playing out in the anticipation that I was thinking, it gave me that last little bounce, which got me out of all the trades that I needed from that. So good.
I'm probably out of here. Today's my birthday, for real.
Your
so-
birthday? I don't know.
Yep.
Can't believe anything.
I'm 40. I
Happy-
know you can't believe it. but
Happy
it is
birthday, man.
actually my birthday today.
Dang.
Happy birthday, man.
That's
I
cool.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
21
Happy
again?
birthday, Cody.
Happy birthday, Cody.
25. Yeah.
Yep, 21 again. I'm 21 again for the last 19 years.
Yeah. I appreciate you,
Yeah,
man.
man, enjoy the day. Yeah, I'm glad you're cutting out early. You don't want to, of any days that's terrible to ruin, you don't want to ruin your birthday.
Yeah, I passed an eval and then
Happy birthday.
almost got half of another one, so I'm just going to
There you go.
run while I can.
Hell yeah, take your one and go, man. That's awesome. Good job.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
Take it easy.
Appreciate it, man. See ya.
Hey, Cody, happy birthday.
Yeah. So those who are left, again, we are almost done because we got 4 minutes away. Man, this went by fast. Quickly, for those who are left that missed it, our company, nextstepalgo.com, we have our AI Neo. Again, rely on him for advice, thoughts, support, all that. You know, depending how you learn to talk to him, how you learn to listen and interpret, you still want to understand trading, but you can talk to him about it and he will teach you. But it's actually kind of interesting because remember, it was somewhere here that I said something about the bear flag playing out and where do we see a potential top. And then remember he said something about be careful because that institutional wall of 320, if it holds, the bears might kick in and, you know, the bull party will be over or whatever he said. And so cool to see it play out on that. And so depending how you interpret it, would have worked. It also validates what I was saying earlier on, if you missed it, which is if you are long and you're playing the push, great. But if you're short, you'd want to wait for that bearish leg to begin to descend to play the short. If you are long, you don't have to take the short. I know it's shocking, but you can let that all go down there, show signs of reclaim, show signs of strength, into bull flag, you know, signs of retracement strength, and play the long. You just have to wait. And so, and that is the hardest thing I feel like for everybody in trading is that they don't like to wait. Nobody likes to wait. So, but if you guys want to talk to Neo, again, we do a free 3-day trial. Y'all are welcome to go do it. And if you have any questions, you can always make a support ticket by the little question mark here. You can DM me on TikTok. You can email me at my email. It's just nick@nextstepalgo.com. Any questions you got? As far as the mentorship program, I have not, there's a few that reached out. I have not onboarded anybody else because we are like right there. There's a few, I have like 3 I gotta talk to. 2 are approved, just they needed a few days, and so I gave them that courtesy to the end of the week. And then they'll have to make a decision, right? But once we lock in this 50 on the mentoring, we are locked. And then you're going to see Alex put up a little waiting list there. And so we're really excited to see that we're really close to that because I have a lot of plans for the people that are in that mentor program. It's going to be awesome. Including they're going to be the first to see Neo executing trades. So with that also, if you are not looking for the mentoring, you could do VIP. VIP gets the option to get everything Mostly, you know, similar to the mentor, but you don't get the mentoring side of it, right? Like the one-on-ones and stuff like that. There's some VIP that I know are trying to get started. I will always do a one-on-one for anybody in VIP to get you going if you're new, right? If you need help setting up your chart, things like that, you know, I'm not going to just kind of throw you to the wolves of, you know, you're VIP, good luck, right? You're VIP. I'm still going to help you out, right? But just reach out. You know, I'm pretty easygoing with things. Most, you know, we'll find as you guys get to know me. But yeah, check it out, guys. A lot of cool things to come. We got autopilot that's on the way. You guys probably heard order filled, order filled, order filled, order filled. The reason why I'm not telling you what he's doing or showing you what he's doing, he's taken a good amount of trades and he's a little red, I think. I have to look why. But we had there was some things. So Tuesdays are my days that I like to really evaluate things, and there was a good amount of stuff that was pretty critical to what he needs. That wasn't what I liked. I even thought was doing, right. So I had to kind of rewrite the wheel yesterday on some things. So I'm kind of counting today as day one, right? Because there's a lot of changes. So I don't know if his calls are going to be good or bad. So I don't want to tell you. My important part of beta testing with AI is not necessarily is the trade good or bad. How is he executing it? What is he thinking when he enters long? What is he thinking when he enters short? What is he thinking when he closes it? Is he letting it go to stop loss? Is he closing it before stop loss and a mental stop, right? Because it's AI. He can have a mental stop. Targets. Is he calling along? And if the target's here, if the structure supports it, is he letting it run? Because he's got that in his code as well. Like, that's more what I'm looking at, right? And that's so difficult because, guys, as you can tell, creating an AI that can guide you alone with what we did with TradeVision is extremely difficult. And I know many in here know that because I talk to a lot of people who are trying to do the same thing and not getting the same result. It's very, very difficult. It requires a lot of time, thoughts, things like that. Creating an AI that can read the market, but then also can execute that trade is even more difficult, right? Because it doesn't sound like it would be. You just take TradeVision and tell him to execute when he tells you to execute. But there's a difference between understanding it and being able to do it, even for AI, because they have to have the, you know, what is the, think of it like TradeVision. Although it's both Neo, both AI, both similar logic, it's kind of a different AI, like a brand new one in general. And so he's kind of like how TradeVision was, right? Where he's kind of an infant on that, meaning he knows how to trade at least, which is good, but he doesn't really know the difference of execution of, you know, when to push that button. You know, when is the confirmation based on the data he's seeing? Can he identify certain things from within? There's a lot of variables, and it's a lot more difficult to test because I make a big change, I have to let him trade a day and then interpret what he did and then make a change, right? Whereas TradeVision, I can do a 20-hour Saturday, Sunday, you know, 2 days, 40 hours in 2 days, and it's a correct ask, correct ask. So I can make a lot of progress really fast. With this guy, it's not going to be as fast. So it's going to be, and it's the most important piece because it's everything we've worked up to this point on, right? And so, and I know it's something that is going to absolutely change the game for so many people because there's no emotion anymore, right? AI is trading for you. And so this dude is going to have to be perfect before I'm going to let him touch anybody's money. And so the flow of that is the mentor people and VIP people will be the first two that we'll be able to see his trades once I believe he's making good enough trades. Then after we do that for a little bit, and he's proven that he can do well, we'll link him to a company account. Then we'll link that dashboard from the company account to where everybody can watch it. All right, so you can at least see it's profitable, he's earning, how's he doing, what's his stats, what's it like, all that. because we want that transparency before anybody puts them on anything, on any real money. And so a little bit of a flow. Mentor and VIP probably until the end of the year will be the only two that will be able to run them on real money, because we got to make sure once he's executing well, right, then we got to make sure the back end is fine, right? The servers, thresholds, all the fun data stuff. And so a little bit of a process, but guys, we're getting there. I think the biggest advantage is going to be once I get him where I want, which I will. Everybody knows I'm stubborn. Is going to be able to give the Mentor VIP the dashboard to see when he goes long, when he goes short, with an explanation, and then you can choose to copy trade it if you want, right? That's going to be something that'll be faster than the actual trading. We, as far as when that happens, I don't know, right? I have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, a lot of adjustments, a lot of tweaking. But I could hit the sweet spot, in a day, in a week. I just need to see, is his decisions lining up with what they should, and it doesn't even have to be a mirror to what I do, how I trade. I'm not ever claiming to be the best at trading, but they have to at least make sense, right? Like if he's saying I took a long here due to XYZ, cool, okay, I see it, and then it went bad, that's fine, right? Losing is part of the game. But when it goes bad, how does he mitigate? Does he let it go to stop? Does he call it early? Does he, there's no DCAing. He's just in out. That's it. DCAing is something that we'll probably add to him once he's stable on things, because, I don't know, guys. I'll tell you, I built a lot of bots, a lot of indicators, and if done correctly, a defensive singular DCA has a higher probability win rate than a singular entry to target. It just does. And so, so I'm not opposed to. We've seen that in some of the other stuff we did in the other company, having that DCA. So, but I don't know if anybody's still riding this long, but that shift is playing out pretty well. So you are, Henry. Good job. I hit all my TPs, so I'm done. I don't know. I don't really want to make any more evals, but I might maybe make one more. I'll just put like one in the pocket, I guess, so I can trade with the afternoon people. But yeah, guys, more to come. I'm excited. If you are excited about AI, if you want to learn to trade, you're going to want to check us out. If you are already trading and you're not consistent, you're going to want to check us out. Even if you are consistent, you might still want to check us out. The biggest compliment I think that I feel that I've gotten is we have a few, I'm trying to think, like probably 5 or 6 people that I know of, because I've talked to them, 20-year plus traders, and they're still using Drew. I don't know what you cracked me up, man. I'm gonna address that in a second. But they're messaging me saying that they're still using Neo, right? And they don't really need him, but it's a work smarter, not harder, right? Why should I go through and deeply dive into everything when I can just go, hey Neo, where's my lines? Where are we going, right? And all that. So, with that, but it is after 11, guys. I try to respect their time, but I know some of this stuff goes a little long. I don't have a long time on that, Drew or Chicken Rock. I just don't know where now because where my mind goes. This push went pretty much right where we said it was gonna go. The only thing that would have been an issue where I would have been like, dang, that sucks, is if you were long here, because I thought that there was a bounce and you got liquidated on that. But even if you did, by the time you would have took the long from the bounce, I don't know what your margin, or your volume would be, but unless you're 1 in Q, you easily survive that. And this whole time we hit here, I've been saying we're likely going to go up. So if you were short here and got liquidated there, then I don't know. Not really sure, man, without knowing your exact entries and thought process. I know we've had those calls before. But I'm gonna drop off. It took off with Meta. Oh, with Meta, yeah. Oh yeah. I'm telling you guys, I don't know where this is gonna end at the end of the day, but I'm usually pretty close to accurate, and I just know my thesis is that every time I've ever tried to short an NVIDIA earning day, I get a very bad day. So I will not short it today. And if it just ends bearish, I'll just let it go because I'm going to show the one last piece and then I really do got to go. This is the most shocking thing you'll ever see. It's amazing. If today you let it drop all the way down, then guess what? Tomorrow we find support, and then now your long that you're so comfortable with, you could just ride it all the way back up, right? I know it's shocking. The market goes down and it goes up. And so you gotta, not every day is the same day. Some days you don't trade. Some days you're just, and I love that. Sometimes people make content, they're like, didn't take a trade today because this is not my jam. And that's the thing, is the trader, you got to understand that